This is Mr. Chin. This is Mr. Chin's empire, and this is Mr. Chin's large quantity of in-demand cultural goods, including celebrity undergarments, bathwater, and anime body pillows, leading to this tourism score. Very impressive. Now, this is me utilizing blitzkrieg tactics to win a peaceful cultural victory, causing untold devastation in the process. I have 3 goals. Win a cultural victory without having my tourism catch up to the leaders, and keep the ethnic cleansing to a minimum. How did I accomplish such a task? A very simple 3-step process. Deity, mods, and I am playing as the homosexual Prussian prince for the cultural boosts to wonders. With my trusty group of top brass, I'm certain that we have accounted for every variable. And while I will attempt to keep the ethnic cleansing to a minimum, it will prove the most arduous of the 3 challenges, considering as Germany I had Hitler in my head like Venom all game. The rough technological order will consist of mining and archery so as not to get sodomized by the first leader I encounter.
Don't drop, nigga.
Worker technologies, and writing, before apprenticeship to mobilize thousands of subsistence farmers to build my iPhones and sweatshops. Castles for the tourism to wonders as per my ability, industrialization, planes, and then tanks. I would rather down a bottle of expired milk as an enema before using concrete to plug my anus shut than construct a scout. Let's begin. For the first part in my 3-step process, I intend to build up my science early game to research advanced blitzkrieg weaponry, made difficult because this is the early game and I am required to run around exploring, engage in diplomatic schmoozing with my neighbors, genocide the native inhabitants, colonize land from now deceased native inhabitants, all while obtaining gold and culture. I discover the greatest natural wonder in the game, causing my salivary glands to begin lactating uncontrollably. This wonder is near the north of the continent with minimal tundra. To my east is a desert and the city-state of Granada. There are numerous luscious jungles towards my south and southwest, making it the most productive area on the map, and looks primed to have its Lebensraum. The western part of the world is relatively unknown and is blocked off by mountain passes and unproductive terrain, although I have heard stories that moving west will have all your teenage girls kidnapped and homesteads destroyed by a device so powerful it is said to be able to eradicate cities. While I may not have the most expansive landmass to work with, it should still prove sufficient until I can expand my empire through implied consent. I am able to engage in diplomacy with the Chinese, who are located right beside my beloved. I may need to edit my formula if he attempts to colonize my property. I meet the Russians towards my south and Indians to my west, enclosing my potential living space. Finally, towards the southeast, I meet the great leader Pakacutie, who no doubt would have saved Kobe had he drawn an H on his forehead. That's not all, as the final neighbor caused me such a headache it can best be described as a throbbing migraine, but we'll get into that. The barbarians were out in numbers today, as per usual, and while I do admit there are some tactics and advanced technologies I can learn from these decentralized peoples, I would rather not have the local Bedouins molest me as a coping mechanism for their unproductive lands. Unfortunately, I was unable to reach the gangbang in time, which was disappointing, although that's okay since this is Civ 6. One barb scout and I'm back in Kino. As I continue my exploratory efforts, I meet a warrior I name Jeremy. Jeremy is not very bright. I goad Jeremy into pursuing me at the speed of Mach 4 against my fortified position. Don't be like Jeremy. Later on, a barb camp makes the critical blunder of breathing near my units as I respond by sending my officers of the law with dubious morals to inform them of this violation. In order to save their bloodline, they attempt a daring tactical advance, leaving their camp to bum rush my slinger. Massive failure. The tables turn, however, as I send a small task force to get rid of the barbs who had the audacity to be born on land that I wish to colonize. But as my warrior is fulfilling his euthanization orders, he is ambushed from all sides, and through guerrilla warfare, the barbs halted my advancements into the region. For now, I continue my eradication efforts of the local populace by locating a boat off the coast of China overflowing with furries on trial for the most deplorable activity.
Guilty! That nigga is guilty! Bring that nigga now! I got the rope right here!
I settle my first major settlement of Frankfurt before securing the future Petra city as well as the city of Mainz to insulate my capital from would-be ne'er-do-wells. The Russians have made a critical lapse in their judgment and settled on exactly the tile I was looking to settle. As I prepared to turn their insides into outsides, I realized they're not keeping that city, allowing me to continue my plans unperturbed. After settling Hamburg, I meet Vizier Saladin. This may prove a problem. You see, Vizier Saladin is adept at performing what his people characterize as a jihad on my ass cheeks. No doubt somebody I have to keep a sharp eye on. Not unlike a second Russian settler looking to Laban my Schramm. I can't allow— hold on. Settling Tours de la Paix as the Chinese dropped any claims to the region, no doubt having received the message through my proxies right before my spies inform me that the Russians have indeed made the error of settling another city in the spot I wanted without the loyalty to keep them secure in the long term, allowing me to funnel weapons to various rebel groups and radicalize the local populace into an uprising that will undoubtedly claim innocent lives. Stunning success. Considering the current yields, the situation has not necessarily developed to our advantage with our science, culture, and gold lacking, however, one step at a time. I attempted to rectify the situation by making money moves in an unsuccessful attempt to increase my motion.
Broke nigga alert.
Beginning the construction of numerous campusi and libraries throughout my empire in an effort to have my prime minister educate the populace.
Read, nigga! Read!
I am still locked into an eternal struggle to increase the funds of my war chest to aid in my future endeavors. However, no tradable goods equals no motion. Let's fix that. I domesticate the local wildlife and begin forcibly breeding them to sell off to prospective warlords in exchange for gold. By funding various militaries throughout the world in a weapons smuggling scheme, I am able to amass a profitable criminal empire and enter the prestigious list commonly referred to as the state sponsors of terrorism. Very nice. I decide a republic is in my best interests while adding impalpable diplomatic favors to my money printing scam. Finally, I have begun to build various commercial centers around my empire to facilitate trade and increase economic cooperation with my surrounding adversaries. In an effort to aid my defenses, I ally with Grenada in case I need to borrow their military. Although if Saladin believes my asshole is infidelic in nature, there won't be much to return after the 30-turn lease ends. My weapons trafficking scheme has been proving fruitful, allowing me to set aside quite the large stockpile of funds I use to purchase workers to aid in construction projects. These large construction projects aided me in obtaining the other districts I needed, along with monuments and, more importantly, Hansas. With my industrial sectors built, I can now take my populace and throw them into barely livable quarters crowded with other families while enforcing a mandated 22-hour workday in order to produce my goods. This ends up as a boon for all sides involved. As my industrialists make money, I produce various goods and weapons significantly faster, and the serfs, keep their hands. My yields are beginning to claw up as I am close to commencing step 2 after securing universities. However, a minor problem arises that takes this game into a turbulent turn for the worst and demands my immediate attention. A jihad problem. I attempt to dissuade them from using my people's ass cheeks as a trampoline by creating a very compelling argument for not coming within 50 feet of my walls. However, that fails to sufficiently scare the Arabian Night, as I convene a war council to discuss the implications implications of Saladin forward basing his soldiers, one of my brightest generals gave his opinion: send in the forced labor. It was my mighty builder who intimidated Saladin's forces into standing down, a great hero to be remembered for all of time. And as a reward, he gets to join the war council, and his family relinquished from their servitude of slavery with extra steps. As for the two Russian cities, don't worry about him yet. The first of two rebel as my overthrow of democratically elected governments through corrupt schemes continues, and I am inching ever closer to a Gilded Age. As Russia loses their second city, both of which are looking to throw sham elections and join my empire, my golden era is secured, guaranteeing both those cities and possibly a third. Our new understanding of the radical term guilds allows me to double my already monstrous Hansa production through the process of withholding basic needs to serfs who fail to fulfill their quotas, allowing me the production needed to build late-stage abortion devices, also known as flying artillery shells. I can only really make use of reforming the coinage in this era while I make the decision to turn back the clock. Third time's the charm. I secure the first of two cities as Gandhi commends my non-violent means of freeing my peoples. Yes, I love peace. In fact, this video is all about a victory through specifically peaceful means. I am finally able to construct the Petra as my city of Trier went from I'll have her home by 8 sir to I'm giving you both a grand and a stepchild. That's character development. After the second city decides sausages are superior to borscht, I enact an alliance with China to further increase my cultural aims, even at the cost of aiding him in his. I settle my final city right as I sell off my state's democratic rights to a group of corrupt oligarchs to aid in my unconventional underground money-making activities. As I conclude my successful Lebensrauming, industrial quotas, scientific research, and monetary development, I would say that we have managed to tick off the first step and enter the second stage of my 3-step process. I will raise my tourism yields by building up my own miniature stockpile of high-demand cultural goods, including but not limited to, I've seen Prime Tumblr, definitely not limited to, anime body pillows and used celebrity toiletries, whilst also producing cultural centers for the local populace to congregate in their 10 hours of mandated free time every month. In addition, I plan various monuments to Belle Delphine's used socks, assuring my tourism attraction can begin in earnest. I luck out and the World Congress funds scientific research and development. Big mistake, as I can now construct universities in record time, allowing me to both increase the rate of my research speed into illegal phosphorus bombs and to send a telegram to Peter reminding him to zip up my pants when he's done. I obtain a merchant spewing non-coherent babble on black gold and weapons of mass destruction. I'll stop you right there. We have no source of oil, so praying for aluminum it is. As my science numbers are nearing completion, looking at the tourism scoreboard, this could pose a problem. I begin construction on Kilwa Kisinawa as the two science city-states will further boost my research into chemical anthrax and bunker-busting bombs considerably. After forcibly removing Peter's mouth from my scrotum, I utilize the great mind of our era as slave labor and complete both Kilwa as well as the Taj. With our ramping up of bathwater production, we are beginning to make 31 tourism. Very nice. Let's see how much the Chinese are making. More than 31? I doubt it. May need to increase body pillow quotas. Sorry, Jeff. Place your hands on the cutting board. Our yields begin to compound, thereby taking the lead as we discover deposits of aluminium we will use to fuel our bombers, which require no oil whatsoever, the physics of which continue to baffle our world-leading scientists in Munich. I begin constructing numerous airports around my empire in the north and the south as bomber production enters obscene levels. The citizens of Hattin, the city I told you not to worry about earlier, rebel rebels, and instead of democratically joining the German unification plan, they reconsider their decision and ask for Salad Daddy to take them back. Grave mistake. At the end of this stage, which went by a lot quicker than the previous one cause, you know, Hans's, my cultural numbers have reached a sufficient amount, even if nowhere near on their way to winning, in most situations, but let's discuss the event that kicked off World War and Stage 3 first. With Salad Daddy taking back Hittin, and with me and what numerous world-leading doctors describe as violent tendencies, I decide I need to air out not just my grievances against the people who hurt me, but also the room. While we could talk it out and come to an amicable solution to this problem, I have bombers, and when you have stores of napalm delivery devices, suddenly every problem looks like a Vietnamese rice farmer. Transitioning to our third and most pivotal step, utilizing the strategy of blitzkrieg or lightning warfare to quickly accost any civ who has more domestic tourists than I do international. Me and my general staff announce a general mobilization of 3 bombers as well as our vaunted land army of coursers and archers to charge their modern AT crews. I'd say we have the advantage. Even with our disadvantaged state in land military research, it is the leading consensus amongst scientists that surviving a plane hurling a bomb towards you at Mach Jesus is very difficult. I believe now is the time to take out Saladin and his world-leading numbers, both stealing footage of Arabian belly dancers to showcase in our museums, and also to eliminate a peer rival. With complete air superiority, I recreate the invasion of Iraq by sending heat-seeking carrier pigeons politely yet sternly asking their troops to stop breathing, whilst also establishing a new Syrian biome before turning Saladin into my sex doll after stealing all of his sex dolls. My leading generals remind me of the fact our planes are running out of fuel for their jet engines, and it may be relevant to disclose that I am running a bit of a deficit. After mercilessly bombing a city so hard you would think I found oil in his borders, I deploy our first fighter aircraft to massacre his severely under-equipped units while constructing the greatest Panama Canal ever conceived. The strategic possibilities this opens up are endless. With Baghdad and its health neutralized and its defenders massacred, I send in my cavalry. After securing Baghdad using horses with slightly larger swords, a man with a silly mustache takes over the Reichstag and puts Jews in the furry category. Not good. Ignoring our domestic issues, I seize the major city of Aleppo and realize I have completely run out of aluminum. However, that doesn't matter as my planes run on the fuel of nationalized Arabian horse manure while the League of Nations begins openly questioning my blitzkrieg tactics and peaceful intentions. Despite my attempts to reassure them that I am only going for a peaceful victory, Russia is not convinced. I solve my aluminum problems by forcing residents of Aleppo to construct more aluminum mines, thus stealing their resources and labor in the process while also serving to aid in the destruction of their cities. Using this positive feedback loop, I break homeostasis in the Arabian Empire as the first of my major problems arises. Taking enemy cities does not reduce their tourism output, meaning I have to systematically destroy the target state in order to achieve my desired, peaceful blitzkrieg victory. We now have 2 goals. I acquire stealth technology, thus improving my flying cremation service's efficiency by a staggering amount, while also eliminating Saladin, however, is no longer a problem, and after helping myself to his vast quantity of cultural goods, I'd like to turn your attention eastward as we open up a second front. No, the irony is not lost on me. Not to worry, however, all we have to do is kick the door down and the whole rotten structure will collapse. At least that's what the man who's taken all my power and is actually calling the shots is telling me. I don't know how the AI manages to build up 641 tourists as a defense, and nor do I ask as I begin the large-scale operation I like to call Barbarossa. The Chinese, despite their fighter aircraft, are engaging in the new TikTok room temperature IQ challenge and deem it imperative that they cede total air superiority to me. I thank them by turning their capital into a replica of Hiroshima after they earned front row seats to watch the sun explode. After running through their empire faster than the average German's any percent speed run through France, I finally defeat Mr. Chin, forcing him to hand over his valuables of mint condition amaranth toenails, thus securing my future as the cultural hegemon. Why have I not won? As you can see from the staggering yields and blitzkrieg-like advance, the game is essentially over. However, my challenges are not, as there is still one obstacle I have yet to disclose. Well, it seems in my hyper-focusing on Operation Barbarossa, I forgot to check what India was doing. They were doing quite a lot, actually. In the meantime, the other civs, who seem to have had a very strong opinion on my massacring the national Chinese populace, convene the League of Nations and launch an intervention.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
This was a critical failure on all fronts. However, the problem still persists that with my monopoly on various cultural goods, I am running out of time to win a cultural victory using blitzkrieg tactics. I have about T-minus 15 turns to eliminate all of India, and time is running out, leaving me in a tough spot as no one can conquer an empire that fast. But then I remembered, this is Civ 6. I have planes. I can expand into Alpha Centauri if I want, and I cook up a plan for Gandhi. Also, I got rid of a little problem in the process. This will be the final battle for the saving of our great nation, the final trial to achieve our goals through peaceful yet brutal means. I would like to announce the commencement of my special military operation, one to finish this war. I call it Operation Final Solution. Is that one already taken? The Indians, safeguarded by their previous alliance with me, were not expecting my invasion and thus neglected their defenses. With a paltry military and even punier air force, I proved to them that not many people can withstand hundreds of kilograms of steel closing in on your coordinates at terminal velocity. So after performing several gang initiations on his forces, we move in. Despite my staggering victories, they still possessed multiple cities across the lake, causing me to rush over my special forces. Utter failure. Well, I could continue to airstrike as many hospitals as I so desire. If I eliminate his major two cities, I may win the cultural victory too fast. And with the city of Chennai possessing the last of Gandhi's air force, it's time to bring out our secret weapon, Fat Man. Immediately proceeding our launching of the final boss of Discord administrators onto the city, untold destruction was enacted on the innocent inhabitants living within. There were no military targets, so the legality of this maneuver is up for debate. However, the results are not. Instead of leaving me to bask in the ambiance of my victory, India decides to cuck me with 3 turns remaining and make my eyes sore gazing at their new city of Mysore. Nothing a little World of Warcraft player can't remove. I am left with just a single turn to accomplish my objectives before time runs out, leaving me to blitz all 5 of India's cities through sea, the mortality of which made Omaha Beach look like a LARP event. This removes India from existence and secures our stated goal of winning a peaceful cultural victory through blitzkrieg tactics. Let's go over to Sean Bean in the studio. Sean?
The beauty that you have inspired our people to create will ensure that our culture stands for all time.
Damn right.